Hey guys, this is Dave here, playing Skyrim Special Edition on the PlayStation 4 Pro. Yep, finally we've got the PS4 Pro consoles in, and Skyrim is one of the first games to be patched to work on this particular machine, i.e. getting extra graphical benefits. So from what I can see, the PS4 Pro mode is actually included directly on the Special Edition disc, the full retail package so to speak. There is a day one patch which comes in at around 600 megs, but that only mentions stability improvements. So presumably it is just on the disc here. Anyway, I was quite interested to see exactly what this PS4 Pro mode would bring. Bethesda themselves are saying that it adds native 4K support to the game, and that's kind of interesting, to see if it was going to run natively at 4K, if it was going to use some checkerboarding, and how the experience held up to the PC version, which I've been able to see in 1440p and indeed at 4K. And on that version, the improvements running at the higher pixel counts is, pretty impressive. So when I was playing Skyrim on the normal PS4 and indeed Xbox One, the game runs at native 1080p, but at the same time image quality is pretty soft, and the game kind of lacks the one-to-one pixel map sharpness you expect from a native presentation. But on the flip side, the game uses a very good temporal anti-aliasing solution which practically eliminates jaggies and shimmering. So on the flip side, it's a very, very clean looking game across all formats. And the thing is, when you bump up the resolution above 1080p, that softness is reduced. And well, before I go on, I'll start by saying that the PlayStation 4 Pro version is indeed running natively at 4K resolution. So we took a look at the game in motion and counted some edges, and we didn't notice any checkerboarding artifacts appearing, and actual pixel counts did resolve native 4K. Now I'm not sure whether the game uses a dynamic resolution on PS4 Pro. Bethesda themselves are saying it is just native 4K, and I can say from what we've played so far in the first hour of the game that does indeed appear to be the case. So in terms of improving image quality, I guess as you can see here, we've got a native 4K video stream. The game looks a lot sharper than in 1080p. You do notice that the temporal anti-aliasing still has a kind of soft look to the overall game, but it's still a big improvement. And I think the thing when you up the resolution isn't just sort of raw sharpness. One of the things I've noticed that, and you can probably see this when you're just watching the footage here, if you take a close look at the smaller sort of intricate subpixel details, things like foliage or objects far away from the camera, then you'll notice that with the increased pixel density, these elements are actually resolved to a higher standard, so you can make out those details more clearly, and edges are more defined. There's basically a lot more detail for these elements to be reconstructed with on screen. And I think that's, a pretty big deal, even if 4K doesn't ultimately bring a definitive upgrade in, say, texture resolution or anything like that. The actual geometric shapes and other aspects do get a really nice benefit from running at higher resolutions. And, the PS4 Pro version here, I can definitely say that it is a big upgrade over the standard game in resolution alone, in a sense that if you've got a 4K TV, if you're running a 1080p game, say Skyrim, it's got kind of soft image quality anyway, and then the TV's going to have to scale that. So you are getting a softer presentation than on a native 1080p screen. By running the game at 4K on the PS4 Pro, we bypass the scaling and we get a resolution boost. So we're actually taking advantage of the panel's native pixel count, and that's a big improvement. So I was kind of wondering whether or not a resolution boost on Pro would be enough. Skyrim is a 30 FPS game, and I guess with PlayStation 4 Pro, the CPU is only, 30% faster, so the general rule of thumb here, I guess, is that if a game is CPU bound or designed to run at 30 frames per second, we can't expect a jump to 60 FPS, unless it's something really simple like an arcade-style game, something like the Triton series, or something that's not too CPU heavy, that's more GPU bound. that might do it. But in the case of something like Skyrim, which has been designed around 30 FPS on consoles, and uses an engine that has a lot of legacy baggage, a lot of older subsystems that some of which may not necessarily take full advantage of multi-core support, then yeah, we're going to be limited to 30 FPS on PS4 Pro for a lot of titles. And I guess the thing I was wondering is whether or not an upgrade in resolution alone brings about a worthy difference, but I think it does. It may still be running at 30 frames per second, but there's a lot of boost to image quality and the presentation and detail that we get, and 4K screens are becoming more and more ubiquitous. If you want to upgrade to a decent HD TV these days, they're all 4K. You don't really have a choice. That is what you're given unless you want to go for a low budget screen, which may or may not be good. Nobody reviews those. And with Skyrim, there is the definite benefit to 4K, even if we're still looking at 30 frames per second. So that's the resolution. Other areas of the game look pretty similar to what they did on PlayStation 4 and indeed the PC version running on Ultra. So from what I've seen so far, the basic core graphical assets are the same across all three platforms anyway, and the effects work here is mostly a match for the console. So Xbox One, PlayStation 4, we're getting the same kind of shadow quality here, texture detail, alpha lighting, that kind of stuff. There is one thing that I do notice on PS4 Pro, and if you look carefully, you might see it if you're very familiar with playing Skyrim on consoles, is that the foliage draw distance is actually improved on the PS4 Pro version, and this is now on par with the PC version running at Ultra. And so you get less pop-up of foliage, and you get more foliage visible at longer range than you do on consoles. As soon as an area is loaded up, there is more in terms of detail in those areas on PS4 Pro. So you're looking at the PC maxed out settings there. Now this boost in draw distance doesn't actually apply to all aspects of the game, so the geometry based elements from what I've seen, NPCs, village signs, LODs, generally speaking they appear to be on par with the console versions. It's mainly the foliage that gets the boost here, so I guess there's been a balancing act with what Bethesda has been able to achieve running at 4K resolution while attempting to boost up the visuals in certain areas. So foliage draw distance is one, but in other areas the shadow quality looks the same as consoles. The normal draw distances for geometric objects appears to be the same as on consoles as well. So essentially you've got a careful upgrade where the majority of the GPU power seems to be put into the actual resolution boost, and then where they've got something spare, they've used it to bump up certain aspects of the game. So, but yeah, it is looking nice at 4K, and I do think it is a worthy boost in graphical quality over the standard PS4. I guess the only thing at this point is performance, and we'll be taking a closer look in more depth, both the comparison and the performance analysis of this game up against the PS4 normal version, or the game running normally on PS4, and of course up against PC version running at 4K and Ultra. So you'll get a better idea of exactly where this PS4 Pro upgrade or patch sits in amongst those. But in terms of having the resolution at 30 frames per second, if running at 4K at 30 FPS, I actually think it's a genuinely good boost over the standard PlayStation 4 game. And if you're a fan of Skyrim, and you're definitely going to be buying a PlayStation 4 Pro anyway, then it's a nice extra to have. It's good to see them taken care of users that way. The other thing we'll obviously be taking a look at in time is how the game holds up with the PS4 Pro at 1080p. As you may be aware, there's certain benefits to running games at 1080p on PS4 Pro in terms of super sampling, and of course the Pro mode here, we've noticed improved foliage, so presumably that is going to be present in 1080p, and in fact I've actually tested it out in 1080p and can say that the graphical improvements in terms of the extra foliage is present in 1080p when playing on the PS4 Pro. But yeah, we'll be taking a look at that a bit later on, but yeah, that's basically it for now. I hope you enjoyed this Let's Play video and found some of the analysis useful as well. If you did enjoy it, then please give us a thumbs up, and remember to subscribe if you'd like to support what we do at Digital Foundry. That would be great if you did. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Did you raise your prices, Carlotta? There's